Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell in the upper right-hand corner. Follow me on all forms of social media. Check me out at thatdrummerguy.com and enjoy the following presentation.
Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, success. Good.
Hi, how's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you very much for taking time to do this interview.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me as well. I appreciate it.
Oh, not a problem. And of course, we're here to talk about the brand new debut album from Northward, which is coming out October 19th through Nuclear Blast. I've just gotten the chance to be able to check out this album over the last week, and it's great to be able to see both you and Floor being able to explore this different territory that I never would have saw you guys be able to go in this kind of direction, but it's so refreshing to hear you guys being able to spread your musical wings the ways that you have.
Thank you very much. Cool that you say that. I mean, the whole point of this project was kind of to not do something that sound like the daily bands that we play in. And I don't know if you're familiar with this, but the music for this album was written 10 years ago. And at that time, Floor was playing in a band called After Forever, and I was playing in Pagan's Mind, as I do daily, and also I had my duties as a guitar player for a Norwegian singer, Jorn Viggo Lofstad.
Yeah, and it's incredible, just the fact that even if the music was written a decade ago, that you guys were able to make everything work out a decade later and finally get this music out for everybody to be able to hear.
Yeah, super happy that we finally get to kind of release the album. I mean,
Hello?
Sorry, we got disconnected.
Oh yes, I noticed that.
Yeah, I'll continue where I left off. No, it's very good that we finally got to release the album. I mean, I don't know if I should go through the whole story, but we met back in 2007 at the Atlanta Prog Power Festival, and kept in contact after that, and decided to write an album together, and we met for the first time in trying to write in the beginning of 2008. I was traveling to Holland. We had this kind of songwriting session to see if there was any songwriting chemistry, and we just hit it off right away, and a lot of creativity and good ideas came up right away. And so the first half of 2008 was us kind of writing this album. She was traveling a lot to Norway, and we were kind of having a really good time listening to a lot of good music and throwing ideas back and forth at each other and sitting and jamming and making demos at the same time as doing this, and so it was very productive and nice period. Then what happened is that we start to record drums. This was the beginning of 2009. We started recorded the drums, and I started to do the guitars, and then suddenly kind of what happened is that After Forever, the band that Thor plays in, they decide to stop. She has been kind of working a lot for this not to happen, and she was very sad for the exit of that kind of band, and it was important for her to kind of as quickly as possible to come out with some music that was more, that she felt was relevant for the people who followed her in After Forever and wanted to kind of write music that, or release an album that was kind of more similar to that kind of style. And this being a much more hard rock oriented album made her kind of revamp the band that she played in before she started in Nightwish, and that led to her starting in Nightwish eventually, and the years go by, and she's pretty busy, and we didn't meet again until 2016 actually, when she played in Trondheim, the city I live in, with Nightwish. She called me up and asked me if I wanted to come down and catch up a bit and talk to her, I met her, and she she told me that she had a year off in 2017, and then had the opportunity to finish our album. And then she asked if I was still up for it and wanted to do it, and it was a good time for me as well. So there we are, kind of in the beginning of 2017 suddenly, and I traveled down to Flora's house in south of Gothenburg, and we were kind of sitting down listening through the material together. It's been 10 years almost since the last time, and we just listened through all the songs, and it just felt really good. I was very curious if we still felt that it was kind of, updated, and if we needed to change a lot or whatever, but we just continued right where we left off. So it's kind of where I stopped recording guitars in the beginning of 2009. I just continued in 2017. So I did all the guitars. We brought in the bass player, Marty Black, came and did the job. Floor did the vocals, and we went to Denmark and mixed the album, and boom, it was done. So that's kind of the story.
And what was that like for you to be able to revisit the material again and deciding what needed to be updated to be able to finish the album?
Yeah, and as I said, it was really cool, because I thought that we might want to change a lot of stuff, but we didn't. The thing is that we kept it as we were very loyal and true to the original demos that we made back in 2008. And I guess the last song on the album that is called Northward, that has a new lyric, because it originally had a different lyric back then. And also the chorus on I Need was we changed the melody and the chords on the guitar there a little bit. So that was the only stuff that was kind of changed. Otherwise, all the music, everything you hear there is very true and kind of the same thing as we recorded on the demos back in 2008. So, but like I said, we just continued where we left off. So it was kind of cool to feel that it was still relevant and up to date after all these years.
Yeah, and that was the amazing thing to me when I've listened to the album, is it feels like it was just written within the last couple of years. I never would have really guessed that the songs were almost fully fleshed out over a decade ago, even though you eventually... You did eventually start over a decade ago, but just going back and being able to have these songs, and they sound just like they fit so contemporarily perfect for what's going on right now. I mean, that's just amazing, the musical chemistry that you two have together.
Yeah, thank you very much. No, that's really cool to hear. I guess, we're lucky that we just really wanted to sit down at that time and write the best music that we could. And luckily the songs have stood the test of time and are relevant today as it was back then. And we're super happy and super proud of the result of the album. And we're very much looking forward to, for everyone to hear the whole album.
And with that, I mean, you guys have been fortunate enough to release a few singles now off the album so far. What was that like for you to finally be able to release that first track for people to be able to hear after working on songs like that for over a decade?
It was it was cool, but it's also kind of tricky you have to kind of choose one song that people are gonna hear, and choosing Why Love Died, I think it was the correct choice, because we wanted everyone to hear that this is nothing like Pagan's Mind, this is nothing like Nightwish, and this is something else, and this is guitar, bass, drums, and vocals in your face, rock and roll kind of thing, and we want everyone to know that this is something different, and that song being forward rock and roll feeling and also pretty catchy song, so it felt right for us to start with that song. But that doesn't mean that we kind of think that that is the best song on the album or something. That means that we think that that was the best song to introduce to the people, and I think that the album in general is very varied, and you have a lot of nice songs and a lot of really cool songs and nice musical elements and stuff. So it's not only kind of the full-on rock and roll energy all the time, though the core of the album is like that, but it's also a lot of kind of other different songs on there as well.
Yeah, and that's one thing I really do appreciate with the album is, even though you guys are going into different directions that you're best known for, you're still exploring different territories throughout this album. There's a lot of great heavier moments that are going on, a lot of great more melodic moments, ballady moments that are going on there. I mean, it's great to see that diversity going through a debut album like that.
Yeah, thanks. I guess that's what we kind of just tried to do. I don't remember how many songs we demoed or whatever, but on the album we ended up with the 11 songs that we thought fitted best, and I guess we maybe kind of had the demos more or less on 13 or 14 songs or something like that, and we just picked out the 11 that we thought that was the best songs and made the best complete package. And as you say, there are a lot of different kind of take a song called Pagan, for example. It's super, it has this almost progressive elements in the verse, and then just an acoustic nice guitar on the bridges, very down to earth, and suddenly this super heavy chorus, a lot of songs have those kind of really surprises and those nice elements that you take you to a journey and listening through it.
And when all of this was happening, when you first got into the first songwriting sessions and ideals for everything that was going on, did you know the direction that you wanted to go in when you started this up, or did you just come up with ideas and wanted to see where they go and then just let it go naturally?
I guess the only thing that we kind of knew before we started was that we were not going to make music that sounded like Pagan's Mind or After Forever, because we both wanted to do something different. For me, I've always been a fan of rock bands. I guess it's I'm 5 years older than Floor, but kind of I have more my roots back to the 70s and the early 80s with the bands that I grew up listening to, because when I was young I started to play with people that was much older than me. So when I was 15, 16, they were kind of throwing Led Zeppelin, Black Sabbath, Deep Purple, those kind of bands. I love the Beatles. At the same time I was listening to Master of Puppets with Metallica or Dio or those kind of bands, and that's kind of the stuff that I grew up with back then. And for Floor, with kind of her influences maybe comes more from the 90s with bands like Skunk and Nancy and stuff like that, but I for us, when we were kind of starting to write music, throwing ideas back and forth and stuff, it was very natural kind of that these songs turned out the way they did. So I guess that kind of rock core with rock and roll and good melodies and cool hooks and stuff like that was kind of a natural thing with the chemistry we have to do.
Yeah, and again, it's so great to hear that too, because I mean, everything from the guitar tones that you decided to use through this album, with a Floor's range that she uses vocally with this, and everyone else that added their 2 cents into what was played for the bass and the drums and the production and everything. I mean, it just makes it really sound like it was just a very natural, organic album, and it's so great to see that.
Yeah, Kurt, that's really cool. I think that one of the things that people that never heard Northward before, they are first, okay, this is style-wise not what I expected. Number 2, have I ever heard Floor sing like this? No, I haven't. Yes, I know that she's a really good singer and have proven that through albums with After Forever, the stuff that she did with Arian, Nightwish, Revamp, those kind of stuff. But this is kind of, you take all those other bands there are kind of big epic sounds, a lot of keyboards, choirs, stuff like that. As I said, this is drums, guitar, and bass, and naked vocals, rock and roll straight into your face. And that takes something to do that really convincing. That is not just something that all kind of singers do. I mean, for me, that is kind of almost the ultimate test, kind of to prove yourself as a singer. And what Floor delivers vocal-wise on this album, I think it's a world-class performance. I really think that.
Yeah, and I definitely agree. And being a longtime Pagan's Mind fan as well, I mean, it was great to be able to hear you do things that you normally wouldn't hear in Pagan's Mind. I mean, being able to go more into that hard rock territory, and there's those little nuances that I can hear of your style that are so great, be it a little solo or a bridge or whatever it is, harkening back a little bit to that, but just being able to forge a different sound like that with your personal playing as well. That's a great thing to hear as well.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. I'm happy about that, and I guess the magical thing about music is that kind of the result of the music is often the chemistry between the people that you work together with. I mean, when I play with Jorn Lande, for example, those kind of the Duke and Out to Every Nation and those kind of albums, it's kind of the chemistry that me and Jorn had writing it. And with Pagan's Mind, it's kind of Ronnie, he has very strong signature on keyboards and stuff like that, and Steiner also on bass, and the kind of it's the chemistry between all of us when working and writing the songs that makes that kind of style. And what you hear in Northward is kind of the mixture between Floor and Jorn Viggo. So that is what is nice. I mean, music is never just one person. Kind of, even if you have one person writing a lot of the material and stuff like that, and making sure that it has this or that quality or whatever. I mean, what it comes down to is getting everyone into it and have everyone make everyone sound as good as possible performing. And I mean, for me, when I write music and stuff and sit with singers, if it's Jorn or if it's Nils from Pagan's Mind or Floor, I mean, for me, it's extremely important that the singers sound as good as possible. That meaning coming up with a melody or hook or anything like that, you better make sure that it's in the right key and that they shine as good as possible and doing stuff like that. So I'm never that guy who kind of, okay, I got this cool riff, you have to just sing something over this. It's never like that. I adapt more to the singer, if you know what I mean. So I mean, many of the riffs and those kind of things are things that I come up with after kind of the base of the song kind of is layered down, with chords and melodies and stuff, and then I kind of, come up with the other stuff, the more guitar stuff, if you know what I mean.
And with that, I mean, being able to work with such world-renowned singers like that, working in different ranges and keys, I mean, is that a lot of extra pressure for you to be able to write for a particular singer and make sure that they can shine off as good as possible? Or is that a good thing for you to be able to explore what you can do on the guitar?
Yeah, I think that is just cool. I mean, for me, it's I get inspired knowing that this will sound good. I mean, now we have a kind of perfect range for her or for him to sing in, and I get inspired by that, and I adapt to whatever kind of range we're in, and for me, that's kind of comes very natural to do. So to me, it really doesn't matter. Of course, it's some kind of riff sometimes that you are kind of depending on having an open strings to or whatever stuff like that. But I mean, you can do good stuff and cool stuff in all kind of different keys, and it's just a matter of starting making the riffs and start, to do that kind of thing after you kind of have the chords and the chord progressions and the melody. So if you kind of lock the music first, then the singer or kind of have to adapt to the music that's been made, and that's also very many people do that and do it very well. But I like the challenge of adapting to the singer and then kind of coming up with all those cool stuff afterwards.
Oh, very much so. I gotta imagine how rewarding that is. I mean, being able to write for falsetto, being able to write for bass, being able to write for treble, whatever the case is, just hitting all these different registers and coming up with ideas that you may not have thought of previously without working without a particular singer in mind.
Yeah, of course. That is the beauty of it, because then the thing is that you don't predict before you start that I just want to do this. You can have ideas or whatever, or have a melody or something like this, but it's important when you sit together with the singer to make that person contribute and throw things back and go back and forth and create the magic together. That I really believe that's when the best things come.
Oh, very much so. So with all of that in mind, and of course with this brand new debut album coming out in just a couple weeks now through Nuclear Blast, is there anything else that's going to be going on with Northward? I mean, I know I can imagine with the floor schedule and your schedule that things got to be picking up on other ways as well.
Yeah, unfortunately we have not planned anything yet in regard of playing live. Nightwish has a pretty tight schedule. They're touring a lot this year. They're writing and recording an album next year, and then they're going and touring again. At the same time, Floor has a 18 months old daughter, and so it's kind of it's to it, as much as we would love it right now. I think that that has to wait, but that will not mean that it will never happen. But I think that if we decide to maybe start playing live again, maybe, or whatever, in a couple of years or something, we would probably start with writing new music and then maybe coming up with a sequel, and after that it will be natural to do some gigs and tour.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that as well. I mean, that would be so much nicer to be able to have that situation where you have 2 albums worth of music to be able to choose from, and being able to pull off a live show like that, if that's at all possible.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think also that the most of the songs that you hear on the first Northward songs here album is extremely. They're very cool to play live. They will work very good in a live situation. But then again, it's kind of 11 songs. So if you want to go on tour, it's an album that's kind of 52 minutes long or something like that. And if you want to go touring, I mean, you better have time to do a 1:30 set, and of course you can always throw in some other songs and stuff like that. But I think it would be good to have I think it would be very good to have 2 albums before starting to tour like that.
Oh, definitely. So also with that in mind, I mean, obviously with Floor, with her schedule that's coming up for the next couple years at least, what's going to be going on with you outside of Northward?
At the moment now, we are slowly but steady kind of getting it going again with Pagan's Mind. We've been having, things will be a little slow still, but we have started to record stuff again. Done a couple of songs that I recorded guitars on not long ago, and throughout the next coming months we will continue to record a little bit, and I really hope that we are able in 2019 to come out with some with a new Pagan's Mind album. That would be good.
Yeah, I would love to hear that as well. I mean, again, being a longtime fan of Pagan's Mind, I mean, I love every single album that you guys have done so far. So, and it's just, of course, and just with a bit of a longer wait in between the previous album and this upcoming album, it's been a bit of a long wait, but I know that you guys aren't going to let anybody down, and if it is taking a little bit of time, I know it's going to be for the great cause of making the best music possible.
Yeah, I guess first just have to let you know that someone else is calling in 2 minutes now, so
sure.
We have to kind of wrap it a little bit up. But to answer that question now is that we have all the music. We already in 2015 we had all the music, but it was for different reasons. It was necessary for us to have a little break, and different a lot of stuff happens through a lifetime, and it's been situations that different members of the band have needed to have a break. And Pagan's Mind is the 5 of us. It's me and Nils and Steiner and Ronnie and Stian. And if it's not the 5 of us, it's not Pagan's Mind. And that's how we do it. So it's kind of been a process of waiting a little bit and stuff like that. But the music we have, and when the album comes, I have strong belief that it's going to be a very good one.
Oh, awesome. And with that, I think that's a fantastic note to end on. I know you got a busy press day ahead of you, so I thank you so very much for taking this time to be able to talk to me about everything that you got going on, and of course talking about the debut album from Northward, which is coming out October 19th through Nuclear Blast. It was great to be able to get that insight about you working with Floor, hearing a little bit about what's going on into the world of Pagan's Mind, and just music in general, and I thank you very much for taking this time to be able to talk to me.
Thank you very much, Josh, for having me, and hope to talk to you again later. And you take care and have a good day.